Hey,
What's going on, man?
hey, what's going on, man?
You living that sideways life, huh?
That's it. That's it. That vertical life. What's going on, man?
Not too much. It's good to see you, man. It's been
Likewise.
a
Come
long.
on.
Yeah, I know we were on that sketch thing at the same time, but we didn't
Yeah,
really get to chat or anything.
I
But
know.
it's good to see you, man.
Likewise, man. I just did the one. I just did one yesterday.
Right on. Which one was that?
Sketchomania for music.
Oh, that one. Right. How'd
Yeah,
that
yeah,
go?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did that one.
What did you do?
I did Prince.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna post that up on Insta tomorrow.
Oh, I'm looking
Yeah. I'm
forward to
gonna post
seeing
that
it,
up on
man.
Insta tomorrow, and then get.
It is absolutely insane what he's done with that thing, man. Like from the
Yeah,
start. Yeah, right?
it's blown up.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a really cool way to go about things. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's worked out. What was that, 18 the other day or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah. It's the 18th
Yeah.
one,
And the
and
amount
it's pretty
of
cool. It's pretty cool because it allows all of us like comic book artists, all of us guys to come together and draw with one another. You know what I mean? And because there's no conventions right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? There's
man, it
no.
keeps the link alive, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we waiting on Mark then?
Yeah, I'm gonna message him and tell him that yo, it's about to start. Let me go. Let me go and thing, yo.
We have so much to talk about, man.
Right?
There's so much been happening with you guys, and especially
So
you.
much. Oh yeah, yeah,
You know what was really cool was
yeah,
I saw the CTV thing,
yeah,
which was super rad.
yeah,
And when they were showing clips just of pictures,
yeah.
I don't know if you provided them or where they got them from, but
I did.
there was one picture from the Pints and Pages
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, I remember that night. That was a great party.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a nice little interview, man. And
Thanks, man.
yeah, we'll have to chat about that
Hmm.
because that's super exciting. And see, this is the first time. Actually, no, see, I hope Mark hurries up because I don't want to waste anything on when we're not
Okay,
recording, right?
about to start. Let me go. Just gonna message him. I'll also send him a text. Oh no, he got it. So I think he's gonna join now. So much going on. Like
Well, we have. I think this is. Have you ever been on the show that wasn't at a convention?
no.
Right? Like we've
The
never.
deal was next year, like what was it, last year? If this pandemic didn't happen, I would have like come through and like
Right.
did the interview, right?
Yeah. No,
But
it's gotten hard, man.
yeah,
And it's gotten weird because like so many people are doing it now, right?
yeah,
Like it was kind of weird in the beginning of the pandemic because all of a sudden everybody started interviewing everybody. And I was like,
yeah.
okay, that's what's going on. So it kind of made me take
Everyone's doing
a little
Zooms.
break. Yeah,
Everyone's doing
right.
Zooms and Insta lives, right?
Yeah. And I was like, well, nobody's listening. Everybody's watching now. So I better get on that Zoom train party, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's worked out well so far. It's fun to see what everybody's come up with and with like the
yeah.
Sketchomania and stuff, what people are doing, you know?
Sketchomania, and then I know with what was it with like Aaron, Matt Sketch, and all those peeps. They're on Discord with the OLA. They have a
Right.
big Discord group, and everybody comes in and joins
That's awesome, man. I
and
got to
does like
check
the
that
sketch
out.
sessions. Yeah, it's really
You
dope.
shouted him out too on that CTV
Yeah,
thing, eh?
because yo, on the real, like a lot of the art that a lot of the art that the way I draw things, the art, like some of the art styles that I do, I learned, I learned part of it from him. You know what I mean?
Right
I
on.
learned part
Yeah.
from him, a lot part from Mark, part from a couple other people I met at Sheridan and Seneca College. So you know, it's a whole community with me. It's a whole
Hodgepodge,
community
right?
thing, right? You know,
Right,
it's
right.
It's
Well, it's
all
weird
about,
'cause-
paying your dues, but paying it forward to people that that have kind of pushed you and helped you in certain ways. So
absolutely. I think it
yeah.
was weird for me because,
Oh,
like,
well,
oh, there he is. So there's the
Yo, yo,
we can hear him.
but what's my picture? I have no
Can't
idea.
see you. You got to turn your
turn that
camera
camera
on.
Oh, okay. Wait a second.
Oh, we're getting close. Oh, there you are. There he is. There's his pretty face.
Hey.
Want no hackers to hack into me,
Oh, for sure.
I like cover all the cameras. Even my Wii U has a camera too. So try to cover that camera.
Yeah.
Don't want everybody else. Hey, what's up?
Good to see
what's
you,
happening?
man.
Same thing.
Thanks
Yes.
for joining us.
Yeah.
So dark. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm
Right.
just I'm setting up the live stream here.
Oh, it's gonna be on Facebook?
Yeah, we're gonna go on the Facebook here. So if
Hey,
you guys
we're
wanna
live.
share or whatever.
I thought you already started. Sound like you guys talking already.
Well, yeah, no, you know what I'm thinking actually, for all you out there who might be listening to just the audio version, I've been recording from the beginning and Joe's already dropped a few excellent words. So we might include this beforehand in the whatchamacallit, in the audio version. But we
Cool.
are gonna go live
Dope.
here.
That part.
Well, I need this title right here.
Go like this. There. Now look better.
Yeah.
This is exciting. I'm really excited to talk to you guys. It's been
Likewise.
far too long, and it's been also far too long since we sat down and like had a proper hour-long
Mhm.
chat, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, boom, boom, boom. Are you all ready? I'm gonna do my usual introduction thing, and then we'll get into it. So you'll hear the theme music as we go live, and then we'll be live and kicking it. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Looks more. Wow. Look more brighter. Oh, there. There you go.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to An Elegant Weapon episode 390. My name is J.M. Clark, J the Jedi Ross Jedi J, and as always, it is so wonderful to have all you beautiful babies here with us in the High Walker studio. Hope y'all doing well. Hope you're all doing fine. Here we are, all cozy and quarantined in this epic snowstorm of insane proportions. Haven't seen that much snow in a long time. I feel like I might have been the one to jinx it because I was going on all January about how it was a sissy winter, and it was nothing at all. And I shouldn't have opened my big mouth because then we got a whole bunch of snow dropped on our asses. All righty, kids. We're going to do that inevitable part very quickly here where we want to share this thing around. The hard thing on Facebook is when we share this thing, you're gonna hear a little something for a sec. As we it was nothing there. At all. Now I'm gonna mute that and we can go on with things. Sorry, there's a weird thing I gotta go through where when I expand it, you hear things. And I want to see all your wonderful comments. Okay, here we go, kids. I am so excited. Tonight's guests have graced this show with their presence many, many times over the years, but it's always been in a convention setting. And we've never actually taken the time to sit down, all of us being in different places. And now we have the Zoom so we can take advantage of the situation. So here I am, ladies and gentlemen. I am chatting tonight with the creators of Heroes of the World. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Maximum Volume Williams.
What's up? What's up?
And we also have on the other end, Mr. Say it with me, kids. Joe Ose Bonsu. Welcome, fellas. It's good to see y'all here. Let's give you a little of this here. Oh, not a little of that. Screwing up all my I wanted to give you guys, there we go. That's a little more appropriate. There we are. Giving all the proper stuff. Yeah, welcome, guys. How y'all feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. Ultra blessed.
I'm doing good too as well. I don't know what's wrong. It's snowing and I'm getting allergies. I don't understand this.
It's a weird time, man. I'm sure the snow
Yeah.
itself might be made up of some kind of concoction these days that would
Mhm.
give people allergies. I mean, it's snowing what, black flaming snow in Texas or something like that, apparently.
What?
Flaming
Um,
snow.
no, there's a lot of the, all the conspiracies going on and all the QAnon craziness, and there's people trying to
Oh,
talk about how this is actually an attack on Texas. And
yeah.
that it's not real snow, and if like you burn it, it turns black and all this weird stuff. And I was just like,
What?
I know, right?
Really?
The world's gone
Well,
insane.
videos on online where people are showing the snow's weird. But you know what? And they can do anything artificial. So, and they, if it's some kind of attack, they're not going to tell you. So,
What's a weird planet we're living on when it's snowing in Texas and everything's freezing
Yeah.
down there.
It's like
right?
more like global warming. You know what I mean? Like,
everything going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Well,
Yeah.
we're a little bit safer up here in the northern land. Joe, you yourself, you're in Mississauga.
yeah.
And Mark, are you in the Saga too, or whereabouts are you?
Yeah, I'm Mississauga, but right now I'm just staying around Brampton because a lot of work around Hamilton and stuff, like doing TV shows and stuff. So.
Yeah, which I'm very excited to talk to you about. And it's been a trip because I moved here to Hamilton a year ago.
Oh,
and I've seen a lot of the shooting going on, and there's constantly productions that are rolling around the streets, so it's an exciting time.
Outside, coronavirus pushed everybody out there.
Yeah.
Someplace out there. So.
Yeah, it's a weird town, Hamilton, man. And it's like I couldn't figure it out because, Hamilton's always had this certain reputation. Yeah. And, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I had this really good opportunity to move here. So I came here. And Hamilton itself, yeah, it's got some issues downtown infrastructure wise. But I didn't realize what was on the outskirts. Like once you got up the mountain, how it really is like the land of waterfalls and the land of trails and the Bruce Trail going right through it. And it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever had the pleasure of living in.
Nice.
But I could never figure out what the hell happened downtown. Why was it stuck in this weird like place where it was like just stop? Everything seemed to just stop. So I started watching all these old YouTube videos and learning the history about it because I've been walking around town a lot. And it was basically that. It was like just piss poor planning, like piss poor infrastructure planning, tearing stuff down at the wrong time, putting it up. It was just like a poorly put together city. And it's like no other reason than that. And I was like, wow, I was kind of right. It's like they just gave up at a certain point, right? Meanwhile, Mississauga has become just a monster epic entity into itself.
It's constantly growing.
It's weird because there's like mini cities within almost like Mississauga almost has like boroughs, right? With the areas with like Streetsville and Clarkson and Meadowvale.
Malton.
Malton.
So a lot of people don't realize how big Mississauga is. It's like the suburban capital of everywhere.
Yeah, it's middle everywhere, almost.
I have this theory that the single most multicultural place on the planet Earth is the food court at Square One Shopping Mall.
Yeah.
You can walk, honestly, so and I'm not saying that as a joke. If you walk into the food court at any given time when, pandemic's off and you're in Square One, I bet you could find someone from like 100+ countries. Do you know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
That's so true.
It's a trip.
They have all types of stuff there. Like,
do you think growing up in Mississauga had an influence on Heroes of the World and being so multiculturally minded as you guys are?
I think somewhat. Believe it or not, Heroes of the World started off as Heroes of the Caribbean.
Oh, really? It was just the Caribbean? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a huge like Caribbean influence in Mississauga and Malton. Like, Bajans, Jamaican, Grenadian, all types of Caribbean people are in Malton. And I think that's why I think Mark presented the idea of creating those Caribbean heroes for like those different islands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what spurred it to go international then? When did it come to you guys that we could do more of this?
we sat down with a couple of friends, like Aaron and his brother and his one of his close friends, Alan. They were like, "Hey, man, you guys are doing Caribbean Heroes, but you can expand it." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true." And they're like, "Oh, you should do more Asian countries and stuff." I'm like, that does sound interesting, but I was like, we were like, "Whoa, that's a lot of countries."
Yeah.
I was like, Joe's like, "There's too many." I was like, "Okay, you know what you do is split in half, and maybe I'll do the boy and girl, and you do the man and woman. So divvy up the characters." But before then, it was just only like girl, I was drawing a boy, and we're just doing random. But a lot of people were asking, "Well, if you got a Jamaican man, where's my Jamaican woman?" So,
Right.
hey, Joe, we should just do more of the opposites. And he's like, and then a lot of people are like, if you have that, then you should do like the boy and the girl. I'm like, okay. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do boy and girl, you do man and woman, and then we'll see what we could do. And we did all the Asian countries around that time, the early time.
Yeah. I think we did like China and Japan around that time.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2006. So I remember 2006 when the World Cup happened.
Yeah.
That's when we ended up doing more of those other countries. Like I remember you doing Italy.
Yep. And
Italy, Egypt,
Portugal,
France.
Yeah, I did France. Yeah, you're right. I did Canada. We did Ghana after. But the thing is, it started from when Joe did a Ghanaian superhero first before the Caribbean. So it was like going backwards. It's like, okay, now we're going to do all the African countries and Asian countries, World Cup countries.
Yeah.
The World Cup came around.
As far as the stories and the books and the comic involvement and, it being kind of a multimedia thing, like what was the order things kind of came to you and came out as?
So we always joke about this where it's like, we kind of did like pull of Masters of the Universe, where Masters of the Universe started off as a toy line. Then it became like, comics and video games and all that other stuff. With us, it was just artwork. It was artwork and then t-shirts. And then the demand grew. No, so I would say, no, let me backtrack that. It was more of the artwork, so the art prints, and then the demand grew for t-shirts. And then once we started getting the t-shirts done, for our friend Aaron Mad Sketch, he suggested, hey, you guys are getting away with murder by just, creating these characters.
I was
out of nowhere.
I was fine about that. I didn't know any. I was not a superhero guy, so I was like Jamaica man, whatever.
Man,
like, Trini boy. He's like, no, they have to have names.
Yeah, so they gotta have names. They gotta have powers. We need a main character. So I remember the one day I think it was around like Wellesley. I remember exactly. It was the Wellesley on the McDonald's on Wellesley and Young, and we were all sitting together, and we were like, "Yo, we have to come up with this main character," and that's how. And then we were all brainstorming on what he should be and what he should look like. And exactly. I think that's where Ori Gaia came about.
Yeah, and around that time is around when Barack Obama was going into what again? Like going for trying to be president, or was trying to get to be president. And hey, we'll make him just a black guy. And we're like, make him a black guy. And I'm like, yo, I know we cool as a black guy, but to be real, not a lot of people were going for that. Like, I'm glad it was Black Panther and all that. Like, it brought out to make more black superheroes. But I was like, hey, we made it multiracial. So if you make it multiracial, then I think it will influence in different areas around the world. They're like, oh, that guy looks like me. That looks like her. So we went with that. And then people are like, oh, looks like a Barack Obama with green eyes. And I was like,
Nice. Hey, our good friend, speaking of the Sketchelmanias that Joe and I were speaking of earlier, our friend Martin Slam Duncan, he's wondering when the Belizean issue is releasing.
The Belizean?
Oh yeah, we got to go through. Like I said, we got to go through a bunch of other stories, but we'll definitely keep that in mind.
We'll keep that in mind with the Belizean, represent the Belizean people. You know.
Yes.
He also wants to know how many COVID tests you're up to, Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, I had last year was 36. 37, 37, 38, 39. I'm on 39 now. 39.
39. We'll get into this a little bit to the folks listening and watching out there, but Mark doesn't just make comics and stuff. Nice.
I think
Something's
my
in
notes
there. They should, maybe should be tested for more than COVID, maybe. You do a lot of acting and character and extra side work on the side, which I'm very excited to talk to you about that in a little bit. But this has kind of led to something I really wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm going to try and do this without it sounding like I'm just trying to put too much of a shine on you guys, but I have to talk about a few of the things I love so much about you guys as creators, as people. Your presence in the community is a huge bright light, and for several reasons. Not that you guys you guys are just great dudes. You're always happy and smiley and positive, and as most of our friends in the community generally is, but you guys are always got a giant smile for everyone. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that you guys have embraced this internationalness of your creation so wholeheartedly. If you just looked at all your work, you couldn't necessarily guess the origin of the person doing all of this stuff. You guys are putting just as much love and care into every nation that you do, every hero that you do, complete and utter respect for, all these other cultures that you're, using in your artwork. Mm-hmm. And then there's a third thing, is that you guys are socially active. You have a voice that you use, but you use it so tactfully. And I love that you guys have a unique perspective, because you're Canadian and Black, which is a bit of a different perspective. And in Canada, how we like to think that we're less racist, and we like to think that we're better and all that kind of stuff. You guys are very, very tactful at reminding us that we have issues too. And you guys are always gentle about it in a way. And I really appreciate about you guys and the way you guys go about it. Is that a conscious effort, or are you just nice dudes trying to pass along a nice positive message?
I think that's just it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to even when we create the characters, we want to try and do things that are true to those nations. And then with the social stuff, we try and, not stir up stuff, but, like you said, remind people that, hey, we got work to do. Let's come together, unite, and get this work done, as a collective peoples.
Yeah. Like what Joe said, I was going to say a mixture of that. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Like, whenever a topic comes up, I'm like, okay, she's really work around this issue and make an image and put a message behind it, just to get it spread around, to say, hey, this is happening. So not only about what's happening in Canada, but also around the world too as well.
Well, you're looking at it, globally. You're trying to unite everything internationally through your art and, through your voice, which is important, I think, for all of us as Canadians, to be careful with what we think and what we're skipping out on. Let me give you a quick, I won't make this too long a story, but because I think we definitely have certain unique perspectives growing up in Mississauga and in one of the most multicultural places in the world. So this was my experience. And, this is what I think it is a good time, because a lot of the stuff that has come out of Black Lives Matter, and Me Too, right from the Me Too movement, is that there is a slight education. I think there's a slight more enlightenment happening on the other side. And a lot of people are starting to see things that, or at least understand things better that they didn't before. So I grew up in St. Catharines, till I was like 7 or 8 or 9, somewhere in there. I think I moved when I was 1985. So I was like 8 years old or something like that. And up until I left, this was my Black experience. Okay. I knew maybe 2-3 Black people in my entire life up to that point. St. Catharines, there was no Black people living in St. Catharines at the time, at least that I knew, or there was always, 1 or 2 Black people in your class, and this was the 80s. So this was a time when I wasn't hearing a lot of education, but I wasn't also on the other side. I wasn't hearing any negatives. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't encounter racist people. It wasn't in racist environment. It was perfect little St. Catharines where everyone was just nice. So it's the 80s, and it's a time when we're being taught to love everyone and be nice and recycle and clean up and love the earth and everybody is the same, you know, and love everybody despite their color. That was drilled into us in the 80s. So I think we grew up, a lot of white kids in the 80s, thinking that they were a little more woke, for a lack of a better word, than they were, just because that had been pushed into us. And we were always great friends with the one or two black kids in our class that we did know, you know, and it was always cool and it was always fine. But I think what we skipped out on was like just more of an understanding and an education, I guess. So anyways, so then I moved from St. Catharines to Mississauga, Ontario, right? And I go from my black heroes being like, and also I was too young to realize how much sidekick type delegation was going on. But, you know, there was Mr. T, you know, there was black culture. Like there were black heroes that we all looked up to because, you know, we
Apollo creeds and
we were trying to, you know, that's kind of how we were raised by what we were watching in the 80s is to, you know, love everybody. And then, you know, so I moved to Mississauga and oh my goodness, what a difference. I'm instantly inundated with so many cultures that I didn't know what was going on at the time. And I remember thinking, this is cool, actually, like getting to know all these people and stuff, right? So that's when everything changed. So, you know, there's a lot of black people in Mississauga. And I went to Clarkson, and Clarkson had a high black population. So I grew up all in this area where I was integrated to a certain extent, where, you know, because I think one of the big problems, you know, one of the things that causes it all is you know, segregation and, you know, lack of education. It's just not understanding or being around the culture. But in Mississauga, you really kind of are.
Yeah.
And you do get you know, you do dive into it. And then the 90s hit and it goes from, you know, Mr. Teenis to Public Enemy and NWA. And all of a sudden there's an anger that comes in.
Yeah, Wu-Tang and all that.
Right. But we're woke in the 90s, right? We're all hippie loving, you know, so we're all for it and everybody's cool. So we grow up. And that's why I think a lot of white people now will say, well, I don't see color. I think it stems from that upbringing. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just, no, you were just used to it. You were just more involved, which I do think led to a bit of a better culture. But at the same time, even though in Clarkson, you know, there was this massive cafeteria and all the black students for some reason hung out at the back, and, you know, all at the back. And it wasn't like a segregate, like I could walk in there and talk to my friends or whatever. There was no like, you know, better not go over there. It wasn't like a prison situation, you know what I mean? Where you know, that table, but there still was like a natural segregation going on, even in Mississauga, Ontario. So I guess that's why I say I appreciate that you guys are gently reminding us of, you know, we grew up kind of cushy here in this area and in Canada. So I know that's not a question, everything I just dropped, but is there anything you guys can speak to that? What you just heard me saying as my black experience growing up, you know, in this area?
Man, I'm trying to think. I'm drawing blanks here. Yeah, you know, it's honestly, it's one of those things where, you know, we have to see color. It's all around us, right?
Right.
It's you know, it's there when, you know, you when you're down on Queen Street. It's there when you're at Celebration Square. There's all types of people, all types of colors exist. And, you know, that's like you just said, that's the good thing about, you know, doing a project like Heroes is, you know, reminding people that, you know, that's there, that type of thing is there. And then, you know, we're all, for better terms, we're all in this together, as the cliche goes.
Right.
Nowadays. Yeah.
And you guys are such huge promoters of that, you know, especially in a community full of people who want that kind of thing, you know? So hold on, let me try to pull like a better question out of that. The other day I was watching this video, and it was like a black discussion, a black panel, and they were asking them questions about, you know, what they want people to understand and stuff. And one thing one guy said was, we're never comfortable.
Mm.
And I got where he was coming from in the States and the situation. I'm wondering, this is something we need to understand. And, us as white culture, are you two being just in Mississauga? Do you feel that way? Do you feel that you're never comfortable or ever in a situation where you're not comfortable coming from that kind of idea where that guy said that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, not comfortable, but then getting used to it. The norm is like, for example, whenever I sometimes do a TV show, the normal that I see all the time, or you know what, I'm gonna go back from even going to dancing class. Like I used to be, before I used to drew, I was in dancing before at this studio called Joe Enchanton School of Dancing. And the normal was me and maybe this light-skinned dude, that's it. And I was like the only black guy. So the uncoverable part is saying, hey, why am I the only one here? So why can't be more multi or different ethnicities in it? Because at the end of the day, a lot of now it's different. It's a little, I think it's more in the black community. Before it was shunned, like don't be an artist.
Oh, really? Oh, have we cut off? Hold on. I can fix that.
Person in it all the time. So like even when you're doing like how can I say this? As an artist, if you go to our school, like when we went to Sheridan, Joe.
Yes, 100%. They were very, and you know what? I could speak to that too. Like there were very few black people in those programs, like art fundamentals, illustration. I know when I used to visit Mark at Sheridan, him, another dude we know, Darian, and a few others were like,
that's it.
That was
like
it. You could count them on your 10 fingers, right?
Right.
And
But
like if I went to my last year of Sheridan, which is computer animation, we had to make an email address for our stuff, and they're like, "Yo, Mark, you're the only black guy here." I'm like, "Yeah," and then my email address turned into like, I was like, what should I put? Mark Williams? No, I put Cartoon 1. I draw cartoons. Only black guy in my class. Yeah, Mark Williams. Yeah. Cartoon 1 MW. So the thing is it's too norm as this like tokenism and things, but it needs to be more diverse. And that's why with our Heroes of the World brand, we're trying to have that diversity into this world that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
Where it shows like, hey, the world's diverse. It's not only in this like one. Like there's like one special M&M in it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like every culture can make it. It doesn't have to be one dominant culture or one dominant race that makes it, or that is the hero, right?
Right. Cool, man. I don't want to get too heavy on you guys all and stuff and everything like that.
The whole thing is being comfortable is the right thing instead of not being comfortable. So even talking about those situations and stuff, you're actually hearing the story now. So instead of like going, oh, or like you just said, I don't see color, or, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's let it slide under. At the end of the day, at least you addressed it. So then you have conversations about it so more people know about that. Because at the end of the day, just like how you tell a story in a comic book or a movie, it's all about telling stories. So if we all hear our own story, you hear the story, get the time to put the highlight of talking about the story, then the story can change. So,
right. Well, I appreciate you guys pushing, that narrative, because I don't know if you guys feel it, but it does feel like, things have kind of come to a head, and there is a certain more, a wider range of conversation going on these days, at least from what I'm hearing. I don't want to say for sure, because obviously I hope that there is. I hope that, cultures are waking up, and I don't want to be saying that I think they are and just being naive about it, because I do know it can be like a nasty world out there and there's still a lot of problems. But I hope that I'm right in feeling that there is more of a conversation going on these days. More of a genuine conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Slowly but surely. slowly but surely there's a shift. It's just sad that it took certain things for us to really talk about it. You know what I mean? Like having some man getting his neck stepped on and all this other stuff that goes on in the States for us to really talk about it. We should have had these conversations way back when.
Yep.
But you know, it's good that we're talking about it now. It's good that, you know, we're highlighting it, that these issues are being highlighted. So yeah.
It seems like the pandemic or people stuck in the house is the only time you can actually say, hey, can you listen to me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
people's minds are open to some stuff. Yeah, you got them right where you want them, I guess. Right?
Like, I have ish to do. I gotta go outside. You're like, oh yeah, and then it's like, Uncle Snow on you. Can't go nowhere. You gotta sit down.
Well, I appreciate, you know, like I say, the way you guys have gone about supporting this whole situation, you know, because you guys really are, you're a bright spot of unity in our community. People respect you guys and they appreciate what you guys are doing. And I hope it goes on for a long, long time. So yeah, I didn't want to turn this into like crazy heavy podcast, but I needed to touch on.
I also appreciate what you just said, because the thing is, when Joe and I are doing stuff, we don't really, it's sort of like critiquing. We don't really know if we're doing the right thing or wrong thing. But when you hear reactions or what the audience is saying, like yourself, makes us say, okay, we're probably doing the right thing. And I'm glad.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I have a certain, there were certain things that, this is why it shows me that a little bit of just, you know, being a little bit of being exposed to things can really affect how you grow up. I have a certain affinity for Black culture in certain areas, and I know it's because of just my genetic disposition to say music that you like or whatever. And, you know, because my favorite type of music is reggae.
Yeah.
Especially old school Motown ska music, like, you know, early 60s, you know, Desmond
like Peter
Decker,
Tosh and
Rico Rodriguez. No, we're going earlier than that, man.
There you go.
We're taking it way back. Early ska stuff, right? So, but when I was growing up, my grandfather used to go to Jamaica a lot. He was a big fan, and he would bring back all these amazing records, Harry Belafonte, and just all these, you know, calypso records. And that's what I heard growing up, and I just loved it. And they had all these Jamaican paintings on the wall, you know, just like things you'd buy touristy or whatever, but, you know, like Jamaican style, you know, Black culture paintings and stuff. And just, I loved the look of them and the art of it. And just, you know, that little bit of exposure as a kid, you know, made me interested, made me want to learn about a certain type of music, which made me want to learn more about a certain type of people, you know. And I think that's what's kind of lacking, is just the forethought to be conscious about educating about kids we're not used to educating them about. Right? You know
what I mean? And I dig that, Jay, because you were exposed to that stuff. You were exposed to that stuff as a kid, like first and foremost, and you decided to do the work and look into it even further.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? As opposed to, like, you know, you see people like, I'm gonna bring up the Kardashians, for example, the Kim Kardashians, right?
Yeah.
You see Mark, but it's like, you know, they're doing all the Black hairstyles and all this other stuff, but yet they're not researching. They're not doing the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hats off to you, brother, because
it was natural, though. You know, it was just like, I like this music, I want to find more of it. And then you just see these awesome albums or this or that. And, you know, that's just more exposure. When I was in high school, I remember, what grade was I in? 10 or 11. And for the first time ever, Clarkson offered a Black history class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm all about that. Right.
Easy.
And I remember now, back at the time, the second it was announced, the immediate conversation between amongst the students was, who was it okay for to take this class?
Oh, wow.
I remember that conversation, right? Was this just for the Black kids to, like, you know, I don't know. There was just a lot of conversation about it. I didn't hesitate. I was like, this sounds like a great class. I'm taking it. So I took this class with, you know, it was a full class, 30 students, high school class. And I got to feel the other side. because it was me and two other white dudes.
Oh wow!
So it was me and this skater punk guy, Matt Rennick,
Yeah.
and this guy from Scotland, Christopher Merrick, and you know, good dudes. And we took this class together. The teacher was a Scottish teacher, Mr. Patrick. He was a great teacher, but
Yeah.
you know, one of the first things we talked about in the class, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Were they going to think it was weird we were in there? But then what I realized was all these kids in this class, all the other 27 or 28 students, were all these students who had been the one or two of the black people in my classes all growing up. So now I finally got to a point where I was taking a class where all those black kids who were just the one or two. Oh, crap. Hold on. We might have popped out on our internet. Are we okay? Are we there?
No.
We're good.
Sorry, internets are jumping in and out. But yeah, all of a sudden, it was very cool because I was in a class where it was made up of all those black kids who had only ever been, you know, one of the one or two in their class. All of a sudden, they were all the class. Yeah. And I was the one or two of the
you were the token.
Oh, wow.
You know what? And when you sat there and thought of, you felt it. You felt different. You felt, you know, luckily I was already friends with a lot of these people. It's not all of a sudden I was thrown into a room with, you know, 30 black people that I didn't know, right? These were all people that I knew, and, you know, a lot of them were already friends. So it wasn't that weird. But, you know, it was almost something that the class needed to address immediately just to get out of the way. Like, it was odd that, you know, the fact that there were 3 white kids in the class, that was something that was like an elephant in the room. And, you know, I learned a lot out of that class, and it was straight up Black history. Like, obviously we'd get into discussions about, you know, the philosophical sides of things, but mainly it was a history class, learning, you know, actual history. And I learned a shit ton. And, you know, everybody was accepting, you know, within an hour, every black kid in that class didn't give a damn about us. We were obviously there for, you know, wanting to be there
to learn. Yeah.
So after a couple days, it was neat because color did kind of go away. And the only time it would come up is when we were using each other's viewpoints for a discussion. You know, because they'd get into heated, you know, they'd, you know, say there's like 4 or 5 black guys getting into a heated discussion, and once in a while would turn and be like, you know, what do you see as a white guy? How do you see this? And you'd be like, shit, don't say the wrong thing. You know, but it was an amazing class, and it ended up being one of my favorite classes that I ever took. And I'm glad they did that. So I hope they're still doing it. I don't know if it's a high school option anymore, but
it should never be an option though.
Yeah. So education, love, exposure. These are all the things you got to do for your people, for your kids, people. So make sure that you're doing that. Okay. Let's get into some of the more fun hobby culturally stuff. Mark.
Yo.
I know it's cool to see you out there. I just want to ask some specifics because I don't even want to get too much into the life of an extra or whatever, but because I actually know quite a few. I know quite a few people who do a lot of extra work, especially in this area. Obviously, we know a lot of them. But dude, I don't see anybody showing up on the shows that you're showing up on consistently. Dude, like, okay, tell me just broadly about the experience of Star Trek Discovery, because I love that show, man. I love that show. Everybody's even just hated the last season. I loved it. I've loved it from beginning to end.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And when I was doing the PhillyCon last year, I got to hang out with Christopher Pike. What's his name?
Oh, nice. Okay, he's a dope guy.
Is it Anson something?
Anson something.
Yeah.
Right?
Such a nice guy, super nice guy. So tell me about that. Like, what was that experience like, Mark?
Well, I met him he was not there to work because the scene I was doing was totally different from what he was in. So I met him. I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "Oh, you're doing great." Like he's really genuine that he will like acknowledge you that you're there, because usually some of the, not saying in that Star Trek, but usually when you do like any other sets, they don't acknowledge you're just there at placement. So I'm like, I was like, okay, well, these people are genuinely nice. And the same thing as Michael, the actor that plays Michael Burnham. she's always thanking everybody to come to set too as well. So
that's nice to hear.
The guy that plays Mr. Sulu, what's the alien guy? I forgot his name.
Saru, Doug Jones, man, legend.
I was
Doug
in the
Jones,
and I was like, I know who you are behind the mask. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, weren't you in Hellboy? He goes, you know my work. And I was like, yeah.
Who's he in Hellboy?
He's Abe Sapien in the first Hellboy.
Oh, Doug Jones. Yeah. Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he's the alien Saru, the tall guy.
And he also has he always does the thing from Pan's Labyrinth with his hands So he's like, oh, my work. I'm like, he's like, not a lot of people know who I am because I'm always wearing a mask. So I'm like,
was that kind of the first time you'd done something like kind of that big budget and that sci-fi and that because you went through an extensive makeup process, it looks like there.
Well,
how long did that take?
That was like a 3 hours for makeup and 3 hours again for makeup. So I was like, yo, that's crazy. And they I might be going back again for something else. I can't say, look, I don't know how long that's gonna take. So, but right now, the one you saw me in the season 2 as one the I forgot what they called, the colony.
I don't remember.
It's in episode 2 of season 3. So when Mrs. Saru, what's his name? The guy, I forgot his name. Man,
Saru, yeah.
Yeah, I was right. Okay, Saru and Tuli.
Yeah, Tuli, yeah.
They enter a planet that is like broken up. Things are flying into space. So I didn't even know I was going to be around them too. I didn't know that I was going to be one of the characters, not main characters, but one of the characters in that episode, because it was only like me and this other guy, and the other guy he's like, I don't even watch Star Trek. He's like a minimalist. He didn't really care.
What? Come on.
Go ahead.
I was like, what? What are you doing here? Get out. Yeah.
How can you not like Star Trek?
He's like, well, I don't know. This is really funny. We're just here, 2 people. I was like, we're in Star Trek, right? Like,
Is it as fun as it seems, man? And that I hope it is. Like, is it I know it's work and you're concentrating and you're focused. You want to do a good job, but are you just on cloud 9 the whole time?
In the beginning, I was actually in season 1 of Star Trek. I was playing Starfleet. Like I what did I get? On Discovery, the last episode, we teleport into Discovery, and we were arresting them because they had the ship or something like that. So I was like, I'm on Star Trek. Oh my gosh.
So did they come to like your work and get familiar with you and invite you back, or is it like a management kind of arranged situation?
There's a thing with the not wearing the costume, but they're very tight on what size you are. So a lot of people are trying to get on Star Trek, but if you're too short or too big, or like you have to be a certain size, which is weird, but because they have to physically stitch and make the suit for you. So like when I think I replaced somebody in the first season because they didn't make the costume for me. Or no, my bad, they did. My bad. Yeah, go in the fitting, they have to actually make the costume. So each of those people that get the suit done, they have to actually physically make the suit work for them because they're all 3D printed. In the future, everything's 3D printed. Right. So
yeah.
But they're just saying like in the future, the hologram just prints out everything. So I was like, okay. And that's the first time I was like, so how they do the energize? Like they do energize things. Like I energized into the place. So we had all I had to freeze. And they're like, okay, you guys are energizing now. Now freeze again. So we had to we had to jump in. So I was like, so this is how they do it.
That's so dope. That's
they even call it on because I grew up an actor. It's all I ever wanted to do when I was a kid. And we used to do
nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's all.
And when we used to do stage plays, it was literally called Star Trek Fight.
No.
So, because when it would call for a fight, or you're just in rehearsal, they'd say Star Trek fight, and you just put your hands on each other's shoulders, and start going like
and
this.
do the whole.
There's all those like still as far as technology's come, there's still the okay, freeze in place, guys. Okay, freezing. You still gotta. It's still make believe, which I love. You're still out there playing and pretending, right?
Man.
And some of the directors, like what's that guy's name? Number one from Jean-Luc Picard.
Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, he did some episodes.
He's directed.
sick.
He has directed every series except Enterprise.
Oh wow! So I didn't even know that was him. I saw myself.
Really? Yeah, I was. I hosted his panel in Philly a couple years back.
Oh, nice.
And he was amazing. He was the nicest, coolest guy, and he was so relaxed. And obviously he's been doing it for years, and he was so chilled about it. But what was cool was, I'm kind of the same way. You guys know how you guys. And to everybody listening, this is how it just rolls. I don't plan much of this stuff. And that's kind of how I go about the panels too. I may be a little more prepared when I'm doing a live panel, but most of these people I know enough stuff about already that I don't need to research Star Trek or Number One or, Commander Riker. I know enough to get by on a conversation. So he comes in, and for some reason he mentions Doctor Who. And I wasn't sure why, but the artist who did the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover comic books was at that show, and he was a friend of mine, J.K. Woodward. I don't know if you've heard of him. And it looks like we've frozen again.
He's trying to call act. Oh, you saying?
Are we kicking? Are we good? Are we holding?
Oh, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
You know what I love? I got to give props to Zoom, because even when everything shuts down, you don't have to. You just have to click off your internet back on, and it brings it all back together.
That's true.
So
maybe CBS, I was just to say CBS canceled you because you're talking too much of a Star Trek. He's like, what? Just trying to get information.
Yeah, just spilling too much. So that's what we ended up talking about, because I'm a huge Whovian too, right? And and he mentioned something about the crossover, and I was like, that artist is here today, and he was like, what? No way. And that led us into a really good panel. We had an awesome time for like an hour. And then later on, he's at his table, and I'm just walking by, and he's got a big lineup, and I hear Jay, and I turn and I see him, and he's like, come here. And I was like, okay. And I run up, and I'm like, everything okay? Because I'm on staff. So I'm thinking maybe he wants something or whatever. And I run up, and I'm like, everything okay? You need something? He's like, no, I just want to tell you how much fun that was. That was like amazing fun. That was so good. And to get that kind of feedback is all you want to hear is like a host. You know what I mean? All you want to hear is that they had a good time and they enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That's the important thing.
He was nice enough to, he had a big lineup, obviously the lineup he'd have, and he was so nice enough to call me over and take a minute just to, give me a nice compliment. Was such a good thing for him to do.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, so.
Wearing the alien suit, you have to like blend food, and not blend food, but like drink like smoothies, some kind of smoothie they have. I don't know what is in the smoothie, but even the first season with the Klingons, they couldn't move properly, so they had to like put a thing in their mouth, like a straw. I thought I was gonna go through that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't do nothing in your mouth here." I'm like, "Oh crap."
Did you have a zipper though? Did you have a zipper, Mark?
A zipper?
Like was there a zipper in the suit? No, to pee. Like, was it hard if you had to go pee? Did they build a zipper into it, or was it just pants?
Oh, I think I just turned my mind off going to the bathroom. I just did the work. I was like, okay, just get through this. And I'm done. Because it was they filmed that not during the winter, they filmed it during the summer. And it was around, I think we had a heat wave, and I'm wearing wool. I'm wearing a whole bunch of wool. And they put a cooling system under the suit. Plus I have all this prosthetics on my face. So I'm in the heat with all this stuff. And I just turned my mind off everything. I was like, I'm in Star Trek. I'm in Star Trek. And then,
You can pee later. There'll be.
I know, it's like see later, man. Just see later. And the thing was not the scene I was in. It was not take up the whole. It did take up the whole day, but I think we had like an hour to just relax. So they took 1 hour, relax everybody. So I think that's the time I went to pee. Yeah, I did. I took off the stuff
in there. That's cool, man. Was it Umbrella Academy that you were looking super slick for?
Oh yeah.
Did you have like a bowler and like a 3-piece and everything, man? You were looking.
Yep. They did. You're talking about the 3-piece suit, and the funny thing about that is it was a period piece to. Did you watch Umbrella Academy?
Yeah.
Season 2.
Season 2, where the girl. Did you watch season 2, Joe?
Not. You know, I gotta finish it.
Come on, Joe.
Oh, wait, what?
No.
So good.
I know, guys. There's so many shows.
There's a lot.
Joe, did you get up to the part with the black girl, her arc a little bit, like where she's in a beauty salon place?
Yeah, in the first episode.
Yeah. Well, they have a whole scene dealing with a thing that happened in the past in the early, I think it was 60s or 70s. No.
Where they're meeting, where they're having that meeting.
Which is the same thing of where blacks couldn't go into certain areas and white.
Yeah, I think I saw that part. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certain that part. And it's funny that they're bringing that kind of topic up in a comic book show. And I was actually, I was not shocked. I was like, this is interesting. All right, Netflix, do this. Let's do this. And they actually had that scene where they're doing that kind of conversation stuff. So I was actually happy I was on that too as well. Like Umbrella Academy is a really good show to watch because they always have that kind of, they talk about those kind of things, even like about transgender to being gay and all that stuff. So props to them.
Discovery is diving hard into the transgender this year. Like,
you're right.
It's very progressive,
now, right? Yeah.
Boy and girl, boy and boy, girl and girl, hybrid people, like they don't care. It's just the future, right? So
would you guys remember the old Next Generation episode when Commander Riker was falling for that alien who was played by a woman, but the species was meant to be androgynous?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty bold for back then. But they go and they meet this species that's an androgynous species who isn't male or female. And he falls for one of them, and he or she kind of falls for him. And it's a whole episode about this. Yeah, it was pretty groundbreaking back then. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Hey, Jason, are you watching a show on Amazon called The Expanse?
Okay, no, but I shouldn't say no. Well, Philly last year in Philly, we had the whole cast of The Expanse there.
Wow.
And I partied with them all. I actually wasn't their host. I had scheduled them with other people who knew the show better than me. When I'm doing the panel coordination, I always try to do that. I try to put the host with, obviously who they're most knowledgeable about or interested with. And I hadn't seen this Expanse at all. And one of my guys did. So I put them on The Expanse. And but afterwards at the after party, I went out with the whole cast who was there. And what a great time. Like they were so proud of this show. Because I think it didn't get canceled and then re-picked up or something. Yeah. And you could tell they were so happy about that, right? They were like, "Oh, a second chance!" Like we're thrilled. But I've heard great things. I should sit down and watch it.
The funny thing about Expanse, I didn't know what the heck was like Expanse, anyways. Because around that time everybody was trying to get on. It was still Star Trek was around that time still, and I think there was another show that was happening. Not The Boys. I can't remember the show.
Was Orphan Black? Was it? No, not Orphan Black, but it was something similar to The Expanse, if I can recall it.
Black, all that stuff. So the thing is, I saw the trailer one time, and I was like, "What is this? Why is the guy wearing like an old 1900s hat, like a detective hat?" And then I was like, "What?" Yeah.
Sorry, I remember the name of it. Killjoys.
Yes, Killjoys. Killjoys was
the thing. Yeah.
And Dark Matter was another one. So they had so much.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Matter, Killjoys, Expanse, and they were starting Star Trek. And I was like, at the end, they were like, what was, I was like, what is an Expanse? I didn't even know what Dark Matter was, but I was always on that show. And then Killjoy was on there, and I was like, okay, I guess it's like a Canadian sci-fi show, cool, whatever. But Expanse, I was like, I didn't get it. But I just recently watched, not recently, but I think in 2019, I watched this YouTube channel saying about why you should watch The Expanse, and then they explained it. I was like, okay, what was I missing? What was I doing? So the thing is, like you said before, they're really proud of the show because they take space travel and space exploration as more, this is how really how it will work. And just like, like when you go on Star Trek, you got warp drive, and I think Star Wars has something like that too as well, but I don't know what it's called. Well, you know what I'm talking about on Star Trek when they go into warp as well.
Yeah, warp speed, hyperspeed.
Yeah, hyperspeed.
All those speeds, ludicrous speed.
Yeah, there you go. And then also same thing as Marvel has their own their own warp drive. Like in Guardian Galaxy, they have the hexes, and they go through these hexes to
the jumps. Yeah.
So a lot of space travel for realistic terms, when you go that fast, if you stop on a dime, you will explode. So they take a lot of science facts, and they go to NASA, just like how what again? What's it? Interstellar, and make sense of space travel and how they will turn.
Movie.
So I was like, damn, I'm gonna watch this show. I like real space travel. And then they just top it off with this Game of Thrones in space. I was like, okay.
I spent an entire evening partying with all those people, and none of them explained it nearly as well as you just did. Like,
really?
It took till now for me to be, so it's like that? Okay, I will give it a shot. They got to learn how to sell their show better.
There's an three-time award winner writer that's on the show, this black lady, which I was like, okay, a black lady's doing this? Okay, let me see what she does. And she did, I think she was trying to world build the world of like how the language will be, how the culture will change, how people will be in space. If they're in space for a long time, they'll be stretched out. So I was like, okay. And they'll have a different language. If you put out, just like, how like in Scarborough, they have their own talk. Yo fam, yo guy. Like, I was like, if you go to Newfoundland, they have their own kind of culture and talk too as well. Like they
down there about a baby.
Exactly. The lady said if you put a whole bunch of people that are all minorities or even like low end people into space, into one culture, they will come up with their own language, which is like Belter talk. And Belter is because they live out in the outer rim of the asteroid belt, mining like gold and silver, water, any kind of resources. So if you have these people just stuck around each other, they're going to come up with their own language. I was like, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. And they're like,
they have like their own accents and everything.
That's pretty intricate. So they go deep.
Yeah. And I was like, one thing I didn't understand about Expanse was like, where are the aliens? And Star Trek, they're way in the future. They will obviously have aliens everywhere. And Star Wars, it's space wizards. So they're going to have, everything's all sci-fi already, and they're going to have aliens. But in Expanse, they're like, okay, aliens will not be, will be a distant future alien, which maybe died and left their remnants, and we might find it and might make a new kind of artificial intelligence or something out of it. So they take some time to explain what they're trying to do, but also world build, and you get snowballed down in their rabbit hole of how they have their storytelling.
So the Expanse is ever continuously expanding. This is how I've been sold now, though. Okay, this is the reason I'm going to watch this show, because the fans of this show talk about this show the same way that the fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender talked about that show.
Yes.
And I never understood it. I never got it because I'm not a big anime guy, right? I'm not a manga guy. And, I understand it's different. It's a cartoon. It's not actually Japanese. It's not actually.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, my kid educates me daily. But I had seen the movie, and I thought it was cool. I was like, this is a cool idea, the whole thing behind it. I really enjoyed the movie. And I
Which
used
one? You mean the Airbender movie?
The Last Airbender, yeah. M. Night Shyamalan.
Hey.
Oh,
Listen to
that
me.
was
Hold on. Listen to me though. I had seen. That's the only Airbender I had seen. So I was
Okay.
like, "This is a cool idea. They're throwing fire and water, and he's a little." All the premise was there, and I thought it was cool. And I was like, "But I know the fans hate this movie. Like,
Yeah,
I don't get the deal. Is it that different?
Mhm.
That bad?" So
Yes.
during the pandemic, months ago, my kid and I sat down and we watched the entire series of
Nice.
Avatar, and
Nice.
now I get it.
You see,
So
you see, like,
get it. This show is awesome. The
go
movie
deep,
didn't do it justice at all, and I
You
totally
see?
get it. I
right?
totally,
You see?
yeah,
So
Right?
the thing is,
yeah.
I'm playing a belter in it, so I understand. I get why the fans of Expanse like Expanse and
Mhm.
how the world built the thing. I was floored how they put the whole story together, and they had that big budget. They didn't even have a big budget, but how they make this huge world work was not that much of a big budget. I was like, oh my gosh. So, hey,
It's
you watch
amazing.
Battlestar? Did you watch Battlestar Galactica?
No, I never got into Battlestar.
Okay. Did you
Never?
watch? I never
No,
watched Battlestar. I know what Battlestar is, and I know what's about with the Cylons and stuff, but I never watched it. So I'm just saying mostly because they're saying it is somewhat like Battlestar. And I know like watching like YouTube videos trying to research about it, like with Cylons and all that stuff. So that's why I just said that if you did watch Battlestar, because it seems like you like a lot
I
of
get
space.
it. I get it. No, Battlestar
Mhm.
has always. It's never been done because it's a crazy commitment. It feels like because it was a pretty
Yeah.
epic show. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of that these days. But you know, and before we go on to one more thing that we got to talk about, Joe's super exciting news is I don't know if it's something to do with the pandemic, but last year, one thing that was a bright spot was Black creativity.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
And it started really kind of like Black Panther, yeah, get things rolling. But man, Watchmen hits,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah,
Regina King doing her thing. And
Yes.
and
Yep.
now now these, you know, movies they're making themselves. I haven't had a chance to watch that one. I can't remember what it's called, Regina King's with Sam Cooke and Muhammad Ali.
One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami.
Yeah, I gotta watch.
I'm
I gotta sit down and
stoked
watch
to
that
see
one.
it. I grew up on Sam Cooke, man. Sam Cooke is my jam. Like that's
Yeah.
I grew up on that group. I'm really excited to see that movie.
Telling you.
But man, her turn in Watchmen was just off the hook. And
So
what is-
crazy.
yeah, and what is it? Sequoia Martin Green is her
She
name
plays
from Discovery.
Her
I'm not
Star
saying
Trek.
exactly right, but she was from Walking Dead too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And oh man, she kills it on Discovery. Like just kills it. But
Yes, he does.
there is, I don't know if it's just that it's an opportunity for everybody to be taking power into their own hands. Oh my God, with this stupid internet.
Paramount's here
God
too.
damn
No, cancel it.
interwebbage.
Cancel
Yo.
it again.
What was I
Cancel it.
saying?
Yo, check it. You got those two shows, but then you got like, actually one of the biggest ones for me was Lovecraft Country.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance yet. That one I feel bad
Oh,
That
about.
was a
That
dope.
one I
Yo,
gotta
Jay,
get
you
on.
gotta
Yeah.
check out Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, I hear they went
that
there
fucking-
too with that one, right? So
You didn't watch Umbrella Academy, so.
oh,
Yeah.
I loved Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol. I
Yeah.
loved them all. Joe's got a new
Hey.
project that Joe's been working on. You know what? Tell us all about it, Joe, because it's exciting.
Okay. So besides Hot W, I freelance, and Scholastic reached out to me to work on this children's book for an athlete, this famous athlete, right? Didn't know who it was. Okay, cool. They're like, send your work. I think her name is Yvonne Lamb. She was the layout designer for the book. She was like, okay, send us your stuff, like stuff with movement and everything. So I sent her a bunch of my stuff, my work.
Okay,
You know,
wait.
a little bit of my.
back up. Where does this connection even come from? You just get a call
was
out of the blue
random.
from
This was-
Scholastic one day. They just call you up.
Yeah, this was random. Like, yo, like I'm just chilling at the crib. I was chilling at the crib, and it's my day off, and I get this email from Yvonne Lamb from Scholastic being like, "Yeah, we saw we stumbled across your website, and we want you to like work on this children's book."
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
So I right. So I end up like sending sending them like some of my artwork, whether it be like my own original stuff, some Heroes of the World stuff. And they were like, and I think weeks later, I get an email saying, "Okay, you're in." They love your stuff. So the athlete that you're going to be doing the book, the athlete that's going to be featured in this children's book is Andre DeGrasse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
You're like,
That's pretty crazy. I was
Like,
like, okay, I got, and like I said in the interview, I got to step my game up. I gotta bring my A game to this because this is huge. This is Scholastic.
Yeah.
We all remember the Scholastic book fairs and all the stuff that we had in school. So I better bring my A game to this thing. So it was. I think I started work on it from January. No, was it? No, I ended it in January, but I started it from like October. No, sorry, September to January.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, and it was just it was just a lot of like back and forth with me and myself and Yvonne and Team Andre's team took a look at the illustrations. It was dope, man. It was a really dope experience, and I hope everybody loves the book when it comes out in July.
Oh, Joe,
Yeah.
when you got the email, you sent down, you thought I don't think it was spam. The way like if that just randomly came to him, like
Yeah, that's part of me thought it was like that because
Yeah.
when you apply for jobs, especially on Indeed, there's random places that'll email you saying, "Hey, we got a job offer for you. Whatever." And I'm like, "Yo, I haven't heard from you. I haven't heard of you guys before. Where did this come from?" But then I saw it was Scholastic. I saw the link. I saw everything. I was like, "Okay, this is awesome. Let me just fire my stuff away and see what happens." And then lo and behold, all this came about. So I'm this is crazy, man. I'm truly. Big up to like Andre DeGrasse and Scholastic and Robert Lucky Bud for bringing me onto this project because it was a big deal.
It's great that you happen to be a guy who so deserves it, especially if they just randomly found your art and were like, "We like this, let's check this guy out," and you end up happening to be someone who absolutely deserves that kind of opportunity. Tell us about the book. What's it about?
It's just an inspirational story about Andre's life. I can't get into too many details.
Oh, so it is kind of a biography type situation.
Something like that, yeah. But it's more of a
inspired
how Andre faces on adversity and how he comes out of it. So that's kind of the idea behind the book.
That's cool.
Like I said, I can't say too much, but it's going to be really, really big when it comes out in July.
Was it a new experience in any way as far as the actual logistics? Like, did you learn anything new about? Was it like making a comic, or was there anything different to the process? It's different
from making a comic, but well, it's similar to making a comic book because you gotta a lot of the back and forth. Like same thing with when Mark and I work on Heroes of the World comics or any illustrations, there's a lot of back and forth on what needs to be what needs to be fixed, what needs to be kept, what needs to be thrown away. So there was a lot of that with this book, and the process was pretty different. Like I've done children's books before, but it was more for independent things where they just wanted everything done straight up.
Right.
Just do the illustrations, hand them in.
Yeah.
So I could just get this thing going. But with Scholastic, it was a lot. They wanted to make sure everything was done right. Like Team Andre wanted to make sure everything was done right. Pardon?
They're like, "No, this is how you do it."
Yeah.
It's too cool, man. It's too cool.
Not even that harsh, but it was just like, this is good. Why don't we change this? So it was an awesome process it was awesome working with that team.
That's cool,
on this book. So yeah.
So happy for you, man. It couldn't come along to a more deserving guy, like I say. And Aaron keeps coming up tonight, and the Aaron we're talking about, kids, Mad Sketch Aaron Ong. I should have him on the show sometime soon. Because same thing. What a positive, happy fellow with mad skills, like mad
Very
skills.
much so.
Has
Very much
mad
so.
skills. Kids, if you like mech or tech in any way, you should see
Yes.
some of the things that this guy
Yes.
does.
Yes.
Is just absolutely mind blowing.
It's crazy.
So, you know,
I
and
remember
he did a piece in Cauldron. He did like all the back work for Casey Pierce's story, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey Pierce did some prose, and Aaron did this really intricate like background to the prose, and
Nice.
it's just beautiful. Yeah.
So dope. That guy.
Yeah.
One thing I admire about Aaron is the fact that, you know, his level of detail is so crazy. Like he'll go in and put in every crevice, every circuit, every gear into his mech.
Yeah.
I learned that from like looking at different artists like Aaron or even like Vince, all of them, and Aaron saying, "Oh, if there's space there, fill it. You gotta fill it." So that's our comic book of Heroes of the World.
Oh god damn it.
From learning from each other and seeing how we work, we take intricate stuff and put into our work, which I'm
pieces. You take pieces of things that you learn from different people and you apply it in your work. So like I said in the interview, like a lot of the way I draw is a lot of the way I do things. I've learned bits and pieces from Mark, bits and pieces from Aaron, bits and pieces from, like, you know, people I went to school with at Sheridan, like the Darian and Brian Juan and all those other guys that we came up with. So a lot of the stuff that these guys were doing, we applied it into a lot of it into our stuff. So
inspiration, man.
We gotta inspire each other.
We know someone who worked for Scholastic.
Oh,
and I want to say it was either Keith Grishow, or Jason Liu.
I think Jason Liu did.
Jason Liu work on some Magic School Bus? In fact, that the city of Mississauga did, or something like that. I feel like I'm gonna have to ask him. We'll
I remember
one of them did something like that.
I remember Mike Ruth mentioned that he did stuff for Scholastic.
Maybe it was Mike Ruth then.
I remember him.
Magic School Bus.
He mentioned that during one of the Sketchlomanias.
Okay, maybe it was, but yeah, I know definitely someone we know had been involved. So, you know, it's cool that Scholastic is still around doing their thing. And Scholastic book fairs were like one of the best days of the year, man. When you got the little catalog and got to go through and see all those crazy ass awesome new books, man. You used to love that stuff. I don't know if they still